Okay, so today is Saturday, 5 a.m. I'm starting the first of 4 races in an hour. Every 15 minutes, a new race will start up. Each race is about 3.5 miles. So I'll probably get 6 minute break in between each race. So this is going to be a race that focuses in on endurance per sprint. These are sprints. I'm hoping to just place in these. Just 4 of them in a row. This is going to be a wild thing. I'm going to start revving it up around. I'm going to start revving it up around 10 seconds. Here we go. Today, I'm doing my first of 4 races. These races consist every 15 minutes. You finish one race, the next one starts 15 minutes later. So one starts at 5, 5:15, 5:30, 5:45. These are consecutive races. It's the Zwift Insider races. It's my first time attempting this race, so I'm going to give you an update on what's going on. I started off, I'm trying to stay with the pack. So my first thing is to rev up when 10 seconds down. You can see that I got my power up to 600 coming out of the gate. Rolling pretty good, coming around the corner. Trying to really stay involved in this race. I'm in the head of the pack right now. And the lungs is not set up so that I have a ton of hills in the beginning. I can kind of flow pretty good and keep up with everyone. But once I get to the point where I notice that if I'm in gravel or if I'm in sand, I can't really pull away and I actually slow down a bit. By me being a heavier rider, it allows me to build momentum and keep that momentum. So for me, I've learned that if I go up a hill and come over the hill, I don't leave anyone at that point. I don't get ahead of anyone at that point. I really get ahead is when I hit a flat off that hill and I have enough power to maintain that speed that I had coming down the hill. That makes the difference. Because coming down the hill, my weight actually pushes me down, which is very, very helpful. But going up the hill, if I can get a good start before the hill shows up, as I see I'm reaching the hill, I can kind of climb through it and it helps me progress to the other side where I can then use my momentum coming down the hill and I can sustain that momentum, which causes me to help increase my lead. But as you can see on this race, I'm trying to see if I can place in every one of these 4 races. These are not easy races to do, which I found out today. The first race was pretty decent. It lasted all of 8 to 9 minutes. I think 10 minutes this race went on. It's 3 segments. Each segment is 1.5 miles, I think it is. It's very helpful to do these races. It's very helpful for me to get good at this because I originally want to get to C class, but I can't go up to C class now because of the weight disparity. Because if I am 186 kilos, and most of the riders that I'm racing against are 80 to, I think, 90 kilos at max, maybe. And I'm one of the heaviest riders, I think, on Zwift. Maybe not the heaviest. I'm afraid that I'm not. I'm afraid somebody else out here is 388 pounds. But it's just as healthy. And this is a great machine, a great vehicle to work on your health, something that gets you moving, to get you motivated. Like I say, I'm just a bear on a bike, trying to establish some kind of understanding of my body, my weight, my endurance. Zwift has really been helpful for me. I started racing 3 weeks ago. I told my wife that I would start racing once I got to level 20. I hit level 20 1st of July, I think it was, end of June, 1st of July. So I started my first race, I think it was the end of June, and I won. And I was excited to see that I won. I just knew I was going to get leveled. And I put it on beginner Zwift Facebook website, and I got a response back from James Josh, I think who that is. He was telling me that his wife raced in that race with me, and he was like, for a guy on my side, I did real good. He got really in depth on what I did. We went through, 10 or 15 paragraphs. It was nice to have the feedback from somebody to tell me, hey, your numbers are in line with your age, and it was like, you're a bigger rider, and it was seen that smaller riders have super more advance against you because the thing goes off of weight per weight. It goes kilowatt per weight. So for me, I'm putting out 500 watts, but when you divide that by my weight, it's only 2.4, 2.3. I mean, at that point right there at 500 watts, I think I'm running right at 2.7, 2.8. For anybody else at 500 watts, you're running 7, 8. It depends on how light you are, 9. That's a lot of watts that people putting out. So I can't move up to C because most of them guys go from 3 to 3.5. I think it's 2.5 to 3.5. And I can only sustain 3 for maybe 20 minutes. I've tried to do group rides with Class C people, and I can ride with them for an extended period of time, but not as well. So as you see me riding around this curve here, I'm going up and down. These are very good for me because I can go climb up and I can climb down. I can ride these waves and keep my speed and my momentum keep me rolling through them. And I'm coming around for my second lap. I'm gonna finish this lap up, and I'm gonna hit around my third lap now. And this is where I must maintain my speed and my endurance. And as you can see on the scale, I'm actually 18 seconds ahead of the next rider. And with the flat now and my momentum at 28 miles an hour, as long as I stay about 400 watts, 450 watts, 500 watts right in that way, I can maintain at 28 miles an hour. And because of my size and because of how my momentum going, and I can just, it's like a ship. Once you get it pushed, it doesn't take much to keep that speed up. So I compare myself to a big old ship, but as you can see, I'm a very big rider. I'm not the small guy. And these races today helps me understand because these are 4 very different races. With this first one, it looks like I'm doing pretty good. I'm up to 22 seconds ahead of the next rider, which seems like a lot, but I don't think it is as bad as it is because this is a Class D race. There's 42 people in this race. I'm riding number 1. I don't have an idea what the next race is. I don't have an idea why I'm riding this race, what the next race would be. So I'm hoping as the next race come up, I'm going, okay, maybe the next race will be just slightly gravel and rest of it concrete. If it's that way, I can sustain. I can roll fast, I can move good, and I can have a chance at winning. I don't think I'm gonna win all these races, but I do believe I can place in every one of them if I try just hard enough. The one thing I do need to learn is if I need to find a gravel bike that'll make it easier for me to do gravel roads and sand roads. Right now my bike is set up off there. I did the Everest climb, and we got the bike be rewarded for doing the Everest climb, which is a very good bike. And I put on the 808 tires. I don't matter with the weight, but the aerodynamics of the tires were what I was looking for. So those are not made for sand or gravel. So you can imagine what would happen if I get on a track with that. I am within half a mile of the finish line. I'm up to 21 seconds ahead of the next rider. I'm feeling good right now. You can see me in the picture. I'm humping, but I feel good, and I'm coming up over these. I love these little mole hills where you go up one and come down. Camel humps, I call them myself. I call them camel humps. I love them. They give me a chance to go up and down, and I keep my momentum. And I know that the next rider behind me, because they're smaller riders, have to actually push up and down the hills. For me, coming down gives me enough momentum to go back up the next hill and sustain that. And that is what helps me out. I'm at 500 feet now, coming close to the end. This is going to be my first race of 4. And I'm excited about this because I actually won the first one. I wasn't thinking I was going to do that. With 42 riders in here, I did not think that was possible. This is valley to mountaintop. This is one I've never seen before. It's a 2.2 mile race. I can do 2.2 miles in relatively 4.5 minutes on a flat. This is 2.2 miles and I have no idea what this is built of. But I'm hoping that this race will be a lot easier than the last one. It's only 2.5 miles. If I can finish this thing up, I'm thinking to myself pretty quickly, this will be a great race for me. It's 41 people. I think somebody may have fell off on the race. They may pop up in just a second, but it's 41 people now. I'm seeing other racers talk and communicate about this race. I'm not gonna speed up like I have been doing my last races. Just won't be sped up. And we're off. And my goal here is to get out in front of the pack. A lot of times I like to get out in front of the pack, and that way, if I can get out in front of the pack and push the pack, maybe I can tire some people out. That's my goal. So when I started off on this one, you can see that I'm putting almost 700 watts down. I'm moving my pedals at 104 pedals per minute. I'm rotating. My heart rate is about 150 beats a minute. I can sustain that the whole time. That's no problem. My average heart rate when I'm racing is about 160 beats per minute. And as you can see, I'm doing good. I'm number 2. I'm coming up on. I'm getting into 3rd place. I'm coming around the corner. I'm getting into close to 2nd, and I think I can get him in 2nd. And I got a nice momentum, and I'm thinking if this race stays like this is gonna be another win. And you gotta admit, I wasn't prepared for this race by no means, no, at all. Because when it turned this left and I hit this gravel, this sand, I'm thinking, okay, I've done sand, 29 miles an hour. I just put in a little bit more power, keep it at about 90 pedals per minute, and I will be fine. This should be only, in my head I'm going, this should be only maybe a 1/4 mile long sand drift. And then the reality starts to hit too. This is longer than a 1/4 mile, way longer. And now I am moving in the sand and I'm slowing down. And there's nothing I can do with the bike setup that I have. It's not built for this. And I don't know if I need to buy a new bike. I would love for somebody to come in the bottom and let me understand if I need to buy a new bike, what bike would be good for this. The weight doesn't matter for me because I'm a bigger guy, so I can put the power in to make up for the weight. But I need a bike that would let me ride above the sand, because I think what I'm doing with the bike I have now, if you ever seen somebody with a 10-speed and they go through mud, I'm sinking into the sand. I'm not gaining any traction. So as you can see, my numbers are starting to really come down. I'm number 1 for the first 3/4 of the race, the first quarter, first third or fourth of the race. But as you can see, everyone is starting to catch up to me because this is a sand pit for me. And sand and bigness on the wrong bike does not mix. And this will not mix. This is going to be a very long race as I'm starting to ride, and it's starting to hit me in my head as I start to get past. And it's very discouraging for me to get past like that because I'm trying to understand Zwift. Zwift is very good for the average rider, the average person who wants to get into bikes. And for me, I'm not going to do any street riding. I've had surgeries on my knees, so I refuse to get out there and jeopardize my walking ability, my ability to walk, because I ran into somebody that had an injury. You have cars out here, so I refuse to kind of get out here and ride like that. So as you can see, I went from number 1 to 10th. I'm in 10th place now, and I still have 1.3 miles to go. This is painful. There must be another bike that I can get. I will look around. I will do this race next week. If anybody wants to ride with me or who wants to see what I'm doing, I will ride the 5 o'clock in the morning race next Saturday. And I will go ahead probably Wednesday. I think you can kind of find it. I'm not sure. But I will sign up for all 4 of them again. And I will go through this. And I just need to know what bike to get for this sand part because I really want to compete. As you can see, I am falling off badly. I'm in 19th place now. And the problem with this is, with the sand race, if you don't, the problem with the races is, if you don't finish kind of fast with this, you don't have much time to the next race. And so each race is starting on the clock. This is the 5:15 race. The next one starts at 5:30. And I'm already 4 minutes in, so I only have 15 minutes. So my goal is to get this race over and not fall too far behind. But as you can see, I am steady falling behind everyone. I'm at 24th now. It's not that I'm tired, but after a minute I realized that if I keep trying to fight the sand, I will wear myself out. So I decided to lower my reps, go back to what I'm used to riding, and finish this race up. But the problem with that is, because it's sand and because I'm not moving fast, I am losing time between the race to gather myself back up again. And I'm thinking to myself, if I don't hurry, I would literally go from this race straight into the third race. Hopefully, and I'm praying that I would be able to finish this race up and still have at least 5 minutes to the next race. Give me a chance to get off the bike, get off the seat, move my legs a little bit different, stretch just for a second, and get back on and get ready for the next race. And so I decided to pick it up a little bit because I needed to finish the race. And I was thinking that I should be coming to concrete soon. And if I can get to concrete, I can speed back up, maybe even walk down some of the people in front of me and finish this race. And I decided that I didn't want to fall any further, so I was going to try to walk people down on this race so that I can get my place back. I knew I couldn't get first back, but I figured I might be able to have the chance to get to 25th. You know, find little goals. Don't quit. Do not quit. And as I see the asphalt, I am excited. So I start to pedal up. As you see, I'm starting to rev up a little bit. And I'm revving up a little bit more. And I'm thinking, let me go ahead and catch up. And then it dawns on me that there's another almost mile left. And if I keep revving up like this, I'm going to be totally wore out in the time between the next race. You have to keep in mind, you only have 15 minutes and the next race will start up. And you must remember that, because if you don't, you can ride your 15 minutes out on this race, and when you get to the next race, you're dead tired when it's time to start. And so I'm thinking, okay, cool, I only got an eighth of a mile left. This is gonna be pretty easy. I'm on asphalt. As long as I don't go through any more sand or gravel, I will be fine. Mountaintop is okay. The climb on the mountaintop is fine, as long as it's not a 10 or 12. I can pretty much maintain my speed through these. But when it gets to the point where I'm on a 10, 12, my weight becomes a real hindrance to me, no matter how much power I put in it. It will become a hindrance. So as I realize that, I go, well, okay, cool. I have 7 minutes in on this race. I have just above half a mile to go. And I know that 7 miles means there's 8 minutes to the next race. You gotta remember that. And I still got a half a mile left on this one. I have 8 minutes, so I'm thinking to myself, if I can speed up just enough, but not wear myself down, I can save myself, at this point I'm realizing, maybe I can save myself 3 minutes to rest up for the next race. So I am pedaling a little bit more, you know, let me get there, but a little less of putting too much in it, because I don't want to wear myself out. Because I know I'm only gonna have about, I'm at this point, I'm thinking maybe 3-4 minutes. As long as I don't hit gravel, and with me down to just over half a mile, just under half a mile, 3/3 of a race left, I look up and guess what shows up? My faithful friend, Big Gravel. Gravel is to big guys, but I guess you know, water is to who knows. I can't figure it out. I won't even try with that one. Sorry, I messed that up totally. But as you can see, the gravel comes back up, and not only is the gravel up, but it is at a 9% incline, and it's like moving through mud. I only have 2/10 of a mile, and it's gonna take me, I don't know, 6 minutes, 4 minutes to do it. I have less than, at this point, less than 6.5 minutes to go to the next race. And I can see people who are smaller than me struggling. So you can imagine how I'm feeling. And I try to increase my pedal and power. I'm actually trying to do my power to move up some, but it is so crushing to do this. This is at a point where I want to stop. I want to just get off the bike, go to the next race and call it quits. But I feel like I'm cheating the other guys that I'm racing with. I'm gonna go through all 4 races. I know that you can't skip a race, but I'm going through all 4 races because I want to be. I know it's not no other kind of validation, but it's a validation to myself that I'm doing something and I'm trying to do it right. I'm trying to compete with people who are doing it right. It's not their fault that I'm a big guy on this, and it's not the game fault. It's just the game that knows that it does calculate my weight, it does calculate the bike that I have, it does calculate all these variables to show, hey, you're in trouble. And as you can see, I have 700 feet left. I have less than 5 minutes left. The next race will be starting. I'm still on this race. The last race, I had about 6 minutes before the next race started. But as you can see, I have less than 5 minutes for the next race. And I'm still at 600 feet before I can finish this race up, which seems like I should be able to get over order real quick, but I'm at 4 miles an hour. And I can't really speed up or get any faster. I try to speed up, but I feel like I'm just climbing more and more into the mud. At this point, I am exhausted because no matter what I do, I can't fight what's going on. And at this incline, there's no way for me to escape this. If it was just concrete or flat ground, I could actually power on the ground and power through it and get to the next side. But with it just being an incline, I don't have no idea when the asphalt is coming up, if the asphalt is coming up. My only goal now is just to pedal through this. And as you can see at the end, I think I see the finish line, and I just told myself, I just gotta go. And luckily for me, I end up hitting asphalt again. And with the asphalt, it gave me a chance to go and get this race over with, which I thought was asphalt, but I hit a level spot. But it allowed me to get to the end of this race. This race was very painful for me and very humbling, because you learn that no matter what, you can only go as fast as the equipment you have and the power that you have left up. And as you can see, I have less than 3.5 minutes for the next race. I finished this race up and I was exhausted. And I went on ahead and scooted over to the next race. And I think I tried to talk, but I was so tired. And I had music playing in the background trying to pick me up, and I was thinking to myself, as you watch me on this third race, we're up to 36 people. I guess some people finished behind me on the last one because I was in like 36th place. And with this, I'm gonna let myself start talking. And we're off. And with this race, my whole goal was to stay with the pack. You have to understand that I am a little tired from the last race, but I know everyone else in this race is tired with me. So I'm thinking to myself, if I can get out in front of the pack or stay inside the pack for a little while, I'll be okay. So as you can see, I'm with the pack. I'm in the middle, but I'm still putting out relative to what everybody else is, 2.9, 3.1. And I'm just gonna push. I can push 2.6, 2.7 for a good 2 to 3 minutes hard. I can go up to about 600 watts and sustain 600 watts for a minute or two. I've done it. It's hard. 500 watts is more consistent for me. I can hold 500 watts for 10 minutes if I just really focus in on it. But as you can see, me holding 500 watts is only 2.7, 2.9, 3.0. That's 500 watts. Anyone else at 100 kilos, oh, that's, oh God, I can't even imagine. 10. So I'm coming around the corner on this and I'm moving pretty good. There's another rider out there who does Zwift. who's a heavier guy. I think he's British. Oh, please don't get on me if I'm calling you the wrong ethnic. I think he's British. He's more European. I'll put it that way. And he's a heavier rider. There's two of them, and they do real good. One of them, he's trying to win his first one, and I think from him he hasn't been. I don't know. I think he's been doing Zwift for a minute. I'm level 20. I wanted to get to level 20, but I was really riding hard all the time. But I'm not gonna just say Zwift did it for me. I have a hydro, and I'm a million miler on the hydro. I'm actually working on 2 million meters on my hydro now. I've had my hydro 3 years. I got my hydro in 2021. I've had my hydro a little over 2.5 years, and I'm working on my second million. So I have endurance, and I roll at, my average roll is 500 meters in 2.6, 2.4. My best is one. I did a 10-minute race. I did 2,600 meters. I think I was moving at 1.52 meters, 500 meters per every minute, 52 seconds. And so I have the endurance. The hydro is giving me my endurance comes from my hydro. So it's not as bad as a hydro. In fact, my best races on Zwift come after I've worked out on the hydro for 10 minutes. The hydro is actually an excellent way of getting ahead. It gives me my endurance, it gives me my power. And as you can see here, we're a mile into the race and I have a 20-second lead. And that's because as I come in it, flats and declines with a slight incline are my best friends. Because on the incline, I do have to push it, but as I can see the incline coming, I rev up. If you notice my numbers are pushing up. I rev up, I get my power settings up, and I go after that hill with anger, because I want to get over that hill. And as you can see, I come over the hill, and I'm going back straight, and I'm really pushing. My goal is now to get about 30 seconds ahead, so that I'm thinking the last mile, I've always thought if I got a 30-second lead in the last mile, there's no way I can lose. And it's looking like I'm going to have a pretty decent race on this one. I gotta admit, coming into these 4 races, I was quite nervous. I didn't think that, when I saw the number of people in these races, and I've been watching these videos for 6 months of people struggling in D, which is the start, and I'm in D. I really was like, okay, this thing is gonna be painful. And it was. But I think because I kept doing my hydro, I kept doing the races, I walked on my treadmill, I think I built up a level of endurance that allows me to pedal further. My sweet spot is the Sister 8 loops, the 3-loop race. Anything in Wachovia, long as Wachovia. Anything in Wachovia with circles or flat ground, no mountain, just a couple of hills, I can't do it wrong. Hills are my enemy. And as you can see here, this hill is pretty steep. And it's a 6%. At 6%, I start losing. 7, 8, I really start coming down. If I hit a 10, or anything 10, 13, it is almost impossible to keep my speed above 6 miles an hour. I usually fall down to about 3.5, 4. I did the Shady Zwift Mountain. I did it, took me 2 hours. Mountains are not my friend. They don't like me, I don't like them. I feel they have an attitude towards me, I have an attitude towards them. And I like it. I like the camaraderie between me and the mountain. We don't like each other. But as you can see, I'm coming around the corner on this mountain, and I'm doing pretty decent. I think I was gonna have this much trouble with it. But I'm glad this is asphalt. That's what I gotta get you to understand. As long as it's not sand, and as you see, we're up to 11%. And my numbers are down to 6, and I have to really pump. And I'm still at 6 miles an hour. But as it comes down and I'm really putting that into it, my lead is shrinking. I was at 32 seconds ahead. It's at 26, 25, and they're starting to slowly climb up on me on this. This is a nice, tight race. This is a race where I didn't know what was going to come around the corner. I didn't know that this was going to be a hill. So for anybody else out there racing and they're doing these races, I know now that the third race is a hilly race. And it has a couple of them. As you see on the trail, you can see how people are starting to catch up. And it's down to 15, 14 seconds ahead of me, behind me. Well, I went from that on one hill, I went from leading 32 seconds down to 14 seconds. Now, as we come down the hill, the blessing is it's an 8% decline. I've had them Shea Zwift where I came down the hill, I hit 60 miles an hour. So coming down the hill, my weight is my best friend. And I am rolling. And if I can continue that on a flat, that's where I get my benefits from this. Because if I keep the power in on a flat, I can sustain what you will see here. I can sustain 25, 26 miles an hour, where everybody has to fight down the hill and fight to sustain that speed. And as you can see, the momentum and me fighting already keeps me at, I think I didn't realize this hill was coming up so soon, but it keeps me at about 16, 17 miles an hour. I didn't put it in early enough. If I had been pedaling earlier, I could have been really doing good. If I had my wattage up to 2.2, 2.3 when I first hit this hill, I probably could sustain 19 miles an hour. But with that, I'm back at 15 second lead. This is no guarantee on this race because there may be more hills. And if there are, this lead is going to constantly get crunched into. And these guys behind me, S. Russell, Jay Blackburn, Jay Jones, it's one more here, Price. He's good. Russell is good. I don't know these guys particularly, but they are in these 4 races. These are the guys who are chasing me down if I get ahead. And I'm only ahead by 12 seconds ahead, 11 seconds. And it's Russell, this guy is really good. He comes up on me, he never stops. He keeps coming. I think it's Olsen, he's good. But you start to see who's at the beginning of these packs of races. Who, if you notice their numbers, they are racing each other, which is putting it on me. The one thing I do like is, like, if you race later on the day, sometimes there are other riders out here. I've raced where there's other riders, and the other riders give you impetus to gives you momentum to keep rolling because you have somebody you can ride with. On this race particularly today, there's no other riders out here, maybe because I did it so early and there's no other riders just riding around. But some of these races, you see other riders riding around, which I have been on. I did the Santa Beach 2, and there was a group of riders who were riding at the same time I was riding in the race, and I kept up with them the whole ride. It was very nice. It kept me moving forward, kept me going. I really enjoyed it. And with this, I'm back up. I'm down to 9 seconds because of another hill. But now as I come over the hill, I have 1.5 miles left, a little less than 1.5 miles left, 1.25 miles left. And I'm climbing up over this hill and I'm putting in this 10-second lead. But I cannot let off at all. I have 1 mile and roughly 1 mile and a mile and a tenth left. And Russell is on my tail. He's only 10 seconds behind me, which is not much. One mistake, one tip of the Zwift play breaks, and he's there. So at this point, he's moving. I can see his numbers. He's at 2.9, and he's forcing me to stay at 2.8. And I'm not wanting to stay this high. I was thinking by close to the end, 1 mile in, I would have a 30-second lead and I would just take it easy. But there is no taking it easy. But on a decline, it allows me to get the speed up to catch the next hill. And thank God for that, because that gave me the momentum to finish this race out at a very, very pretty quick pace. And as you can see, I'm at 36 miles an hour. And it's a slight decline, and I don't have to put in a lot of work to stay at that speed. And I know that the lighter riders, when they come over the hill and they see me going, they have to pedal to keep up with me, which means once they get to the bottom, I've let my legs rest during this time. You see, I bring it back down to about 75 pedals per minute, just enough to keep the momentum going. And they're probably moving at about, I don't know, 85, 90 to get back up with me. And as you see, I put a 15-second gap in there just from just coming down a hill. And with that, I only have half a mile to go. As long as there's no gravel, I feel good, I feel comfortable here. And I know that I'm down to 4/10 of a mile. I'm moving pretty decent. You see my heart rate starting to come back down. I think it got up to about 170 somewhere in there, and it's starting to come back down to 160. And I'm pretty comfortable now. I'm breathing hard, but I'm not suffering. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, cool. There's one more race. If I can get through the last little bit of this one, and out of nowhere, another hill. And as you can see, I was kind of prepared. I was looking at the numbers to see the hill coming, and I was pedaling through it. Lucky for me, I didn't have nobody right on my tail. Because if Russell was right behind me, maybe 3 or 4 or 5, 6 seconds, he could have caught me here. But without him on my tail then, and with me at 400, putting out 400 watts, 2.3, 2.4, as I come over this hill, it's so much easier to speed back up. I never really lose it. I stay at 20. And I decide at this close end of this race, I need to calm down. I got to get ready for the next race. There's less than 3 minutes, I think 2.5 minutes for the next race, and I need to calm down. This race was painful, but I'm calmed down, and for males, I'm doing pretty decent. So lo and behold, when I switched to the next race, I noticed that I actually had 4 minutes and 28, 29 seconds, which I was surprised. I thought I had less than that. But maybe the number's off just a little bit on the last race. And we're off 3.5 miles. This is the last race, 4:04. My legs, I gotta admit, feel like jelly. And as you can see, when I take off, my heart rate is already at 150. That is mostly wet. On the hydro, it rolls about 150, 160. So I'm cool with this. I've done 45-minute rolls on the hydro. I think it's 12,000 meters. So I have the endurance to go for this. I have the power to get going. And as you can see, I pull out the number 1, and I think to myself, I'm gonna take this 3.5 miles. It's only one straight, and I'm just gonna pound this thing. I am, in my head, I am gonna sustain 400. I don't know why my wristband, I have a wristband on my arm. I have to look it up, a Polar. And the Polar and my Apple Watch are running together, and that's, or long as the Apple Watch and the Polar gives off the same number, I know I'm doing good. I don't realize that my heart rate is off, but then it kicks back in and I'm good to go. And I'm rolling about 157 on the heartbeat. I'm doing about 88 pedals per minute, and I'm putting up about 2.4 the whole time. And I'm thinking to myself, if I could just climb and build this up, I am fine. And it's asphalt, and I'm just I don't know what ahead of me, because I've never rode this race before, but I see something ahead of me, and I'm looking at that mountain, I go, oh God, I turned. And I think to myself, thank God I turned. I would have never made that mountain. That mountain would have killed me. So I'm thinking, let's keep going. I know these races, and I don't know if they change weekly or monthly, but if this is the same race next week, I think it will be the last weekend of this month, maybe one more weekend. If this is the same race per weekend, I can be prepared for this last race. This last race, I can win this thing. I'm putting distance in between. I got 6 seconds of distance. I'm moving pretty good. I'm feeling great. For the biggest rider out there, always remember that no matter what you do, you're bigger. But don't let that hold you back from racing. I let it hold me back to level 20. And if you have to take the level 30 to start racing, do it till you feel comfortable. Because I don't want you to start racing and get discouraged. Which the reason I put it off so far, because I didn't want to race and start getting discouraged over, oh man, I'm not finishing these things. People are slaughtering me every time I get out there. So it can be soul devouring to constantly lose. So I've held off on purpose. even to the point where I started trying to see, well, can I keep up with Class C guys? So I would do group rides with C's, the low C's, not the high C's. And I would do the mountaintops over in the one that starts with an L. And I noticed that I could do the climbs and the ride with them guys for at least a lap or two. And I felt, okay, cool, I'm fine. And as you can see on here, I'm a mile in, 2.3 miles left. I'm up to 14 seconds ahead of everybody, and I'm just, it's a flat. This is flat, so I'm thinking this whole thing is just flat. And I'm thinking, if this flat, I am just gonna keep pouring. I don't care how tired I am, I don't care what I gotta do, I'm just gonna keep pouring it on until the end of this race. I'm gonna make this race my race. So as you see, it's a flat, and I'm just steady pouring it on. I'm standing at 3.4, 3.5. I'm at the max limit for this race. I'm pushing 400 watts the whole time, and I'm not giving up. I'm determined to stay at this pace. I don't know what's coming up, so I have to keep pedaling at this pace, because if a hill come up, I'm thinking to myself, with 2 miles in, I'm through. But if not, as I keep constantly riding, there's no hill. So if I can just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, I should be fine. I don't know what's coming up. Maybe it's a gravel road at the end. You gotta understand, I haven't done this race before. So the best way to prepare for whatever's coming ahead is to get ahead. And thankfully, if I can just keep pushing power on a zero incline, and I keep extending my lead, as you can see, because I'm just constantly putting that power in there. Just power, just trying to push through. I'm thinking to myself, I can win this thing with a nice lead, a comfortable lead. So anything that comes up on me, I should be fine. And as I'm seeing now, it's still zero. At this point, I'm loving the zero. I don't even want to decline. Just stay zero, and I can just keep putting distance between me and the second place AM. I just keep putting distance between me and them. And I just keep pushing. And I'm thinking to myself, nobody gonna catch me as long as I don't hit an incline. And I don't see anything, and it's like, actually I'm going down a decline on this one, I'm back to zero. And I'm starting to feel a little comfortable. And you can see it in my pedaling. I'm coming down a little bit. I'm tired because my legs are starting to turn to jelly. I didn't realize how much of a painstaking thing this is, but my legs are starting to turn a little jelly. But I'm doing okay. I'm at a 3%. I'm going, okay, cool. If it's only at 3% and this is all I'm gonna see the rest of the race, power through it. I've got a 32-second lead with a mile and a quarter left. That's not a lot. And for me, I was thinking, okay, I got a mile and a quarter left. I got a 33-second lead, and it's flat in front of me. Just keep building. I tell you what, next week on this one race, on this last lap, I will maintain 500 throughout the whole race. I am not letting this go, because I know I can get this thing done in 10 minutes. So I hit the gravel and I'm going, oh, that's why. But as I'm riding the gravel, I noticed something. I noticed that wall, and I know that wall, if I get to that wall and I make a right, there's concrete, there's asphalt, and I can get back on there and start rolling again. And I still got a 32-second head lead on everyone. So if I can get in the asphalt, all I want to do, as I'm coming to this end, I've rode this ride a ton. All I'm thinking to myself, turn right, turn right, turn right, turn right. That's all. I'm giddy in my head. Okay, I've never turned left. Turn right, and I'm turning left. I have no idea where I'm going now. And as it turns left, all I see is that mountain. So I go, okay. I got a 34-second lead. I have a mile left, and I'm still at zero. If I can just start powering, as you can see, I'm starting to power this thing up, because I'm going, okay, the reality is there's a mountain in front of me. I'm down to 3/4 of a mile. I have a 33-second lead. I can pull this off. It's still asphalt, it's not gravel. It's a mountain, but it's not a molehill, but I can pull this off. If there's any kind of decline on the other side, I will be fine. If I don't have to climb this whole mountain, I will be fine. And that's what I'm thinking here. I'm down to 3/4 of a mile, 7/10 of a mile. I got a 35-second head start, and I'm at 2%. And I see that, and I should have started powering then, when I noticed that I was getting close to the end of that boardwalk, but I waited a little too long. But I am powering back in. If I had next week, if this is the same race, I will power before I hit that boardwalk, and I will sustain that power, trying to keep me at about 23, 24 when I hit this hill. And as you see, I hit this hill. I have a 35-second head start. I'm at 3 miles. I have half a mile left, and I'm down to 10 miles an hour, 9 miles an hour. And that 35-second lead is still 35 in my head. I'm comfortable. I'm at about 400. I'm putting out 2.7 watts, 2.8. I'm at 400 watts of watts put it out. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. That's all I'm thinking to myself, because at this point, I don't know where the next flat is. I need something to at least give me a chance to build a little bit more momentum for the next hill. But this is just a steady climb. And now I realize that, and as you can see, I am trying to put more power into this race. And one thing I will do is increase the tension, which will allow me to put more power into the pedals that I'm going into, because that'd be like gearing down into smaller gears. For me, because I don't have gear ratios, I have to set my power at a certain spot and just leave it. So the only relief I get is pedaling slower, or downhill where I don't pedal as fast, just pedaling slower. That's the only release I have to look forward to. And as you can see, I'm down to a 4/10 of a mile. I have an 11-second lead. And I'm thinking to myself, the guys who are so much lighter than me behind me are starting to catch up. I gotta put more power in, but I am truly tired. I'm tired because that third race, that second race really hurt. So if I can find a way to get myself a really good rest between that second and third race, I should be fine. And at 5%, I can start putting it. And if you see here, at 5%, I even started putting back in 14 seconds ahead of everybody, but then it went to 12 degrees. And it snatches all my momentum away. I'm looking at the thing, and I'm almost at 1,000 feet away from the end sight, 16 seconds ahead. I see the flat there in front of me, and I'm thinking to myself, hopefully that incline is not that steep, and if I can just bear down here, I will be fine. And I wanted so bad to get this thing up to 500. Maybe I should have put a little more tension in, but I'm thinking to myself, 13 seconds, I'm 900 feet away from the end. If I can just keep this power, hopefully Price has decided that he's gonna slow down a little bit, but no. As I get closer to 500, and I'm down to 700 feet, he's down to 9 seconds behind me. And I want to win. I'm thinking to myself, if I can win 3 out of the 4 races, that's a great achievement. But as you can see, the whole end of the race is nothing but an incline. And I can see Price slowly catching up. And now I'm really pedaling, but I can only go so fast. I'm putting 500 watts in, and I'm really rolling. And you can see him walk past me like I was standing still. And that's the benefit of being a lighter rider. And I keep thinking and hoping that, I see one more person coming up on 3-2, and you can see him pass me. But I'm trying to catch Price. At least if I can come in second, I think to myself. And I increased revolutions. My heart rate is up to 174 beats a minute. And I just barely missed coming in second. But I gotta tell you, this was a wonderful race. I enjoyed this race. Out of 177 people, I guess it does 190 people, 92 people. For the day. I came in on this race. I came in 168, which you have Class A, Class B, Class C. I'm Class D. Will I ever race Class C? Not now. I'm roughly 385 pounds. I said I would attempt Class C if I get down to under 340 pounds, which is about 45 pounds down. I think the numbers and my power disparity should make up for that. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to getting to that spot. But thank y'all for watching this. I'm not gonna speed none of them up, and I'm gonna try to get this in tonight or first thing tomorrow. And I'm gonna race tomorrow, and I can't wait to get to the next race. For my bigger guys, bigger people, I say, just get out and move. The only way you can do your weight loss starting is to move and to eat right. Have a blessed day.